WHCS Channel 29 presents the Boo Williams Tidewater teams versus the Canadian All-Stars. This is the Boo Williams 19 and under league versus the Canadian Junior National Girls team. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble. Welcome to the Hampton Coliseum for tonight's game between the Canadian All-Stars and the Boo Williams All-Stars. And Bob, of course, we haven't had a chance to see either of these teams perform previously, but we do know some of the girls that are starring and appearing in this game. The most notable to my mind, of course, is Nikki Reed, the standout Peninsula performer.
Right, and of course they're going to have some rule changes too, Tim. It's a little bit different. As you see right there, as Willie Brown is very instrumental in helping Boo Williams girls and the boys AAU teams, and what's happening right now is they're handing out gifts that they will exchange with the Canadian junior national team. And of course, what we got, AG is running around, has got that portable mic, Tim, and he will be able to pick up the introductions of the players, and we can catch that too. While we got a chance, I can go over a few of these rule changes. And we do have the three-point play just like they do in high school now, Tim. One other thing is they do have a 30-second shot clock, which we were not accustomed to at all in the boys and the girls high school games. If a person is fouled in active shooting, it's a two-shot foul. Unless they're fouled in active shooting in the three-point range, then they will be awarded 3 foul shots. The penalty situation, they can take the ball out of bounds instead of shoot the ball if they want to. You may touch the ball after it hits the rim and it's still within the cylinder, and it's not counted as goaltending at all. You cannot do the alley-oop play at all. It sounds like we're getting ready to have some introductions here, Tim.
Okay, and we switch over now to the PA announcer for the starting lineups.
Number 7, 6 foot, Chrissy Van Bernard. Number 11, 5'10", Bridget Edwards. Number 12, 5'9", Linda Hazick. Number 5, 5'6", Sandra Mullins. Wearing number 3, 5'6", Sylvia Corbett. Number 14, 5'5", Rachel Reed. Number 6, 6'2", Shelley Foster. Number 10, 5'6", Marie Bernard. Number 4, 5'4", Kelly LaBelle. And number 15, 5'4", Wanda Vieira. The assistant coach for the Canadian team, Wayne LaBelle. Assistant coach, Bernard Collymore. And the coaches, Les Hughes and Paul Heaney. And now for the Boo Williams All-Stars. 6'1" from Virginia Beach, wearing number 11, Allison Moore. 5'6" from Norfolk, wearing number 21, Gwen Deal. 5'7" from Nazaman County, wearing number 12, Kim Aston. 5'9" from York County, wearing number 5, Roz Gross. 6'1" from York County, wearing number 31, Angela Rust. 5'8" from Norfolk, number 15, Kirstine Portlock. 5'10" from Chesapeake, wearing number 4, Kathy Potter. From Virginia Beach, 5'8", number 22, Abigail Focacci. Also from Virginia Beach, 5'8", number 14, Tammy Hedgepeth. 6'3" from Franklin, number 20, Anita Taylor. 6'2" from Virginia Beach, number 3, Sarah Captain. 5'6" from Norfolk, number 4, Athea Johnson. 5'5" from Hampton, number 10, Nikki Reed. 5'8" from Newport News, number 30, Natalie Thomas. 6'1" from Portsmouth, number 3, Gary Shander. And 6'2" from Tab High, number 13, Marilyn Gayton. The coaches for the Boo Williams All-Stars: Assistant Coach Ed Lowry, Assistant Coach Pam Stewart, and Coach Boo Williams. I'd like everyone to stand for the national anthem. We'll first have the Canadian national anthem. Please remain standing. Now, will each team member, coach, and liaison please exchange gifts?
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right.
Well, Tim, we can see them out in the middle of the floor exchanging gifts, and this is one of the things that you'll always find in when you have teams from different countries that are participating against each other. I didn't get to finish going through some of these things. Just a couple of things that I thought was rather interesting was the no alley-oop. Technical foul counts as a personal foul. Only the coach can call a timeout. 2 timeouts a half. You have 3 seconds to get the ball in bounds instead of 5, and you have 5 seconds to shoot a foul shot rather than 10 seconds, what we're used to.
Once the ball is handed to you,
right? Right, absolutely. And you may not throw the ball off of a player to cause a violation, and that's AAU rules. As we saw the officials, and they did not announce the officials' names that I picked up, Tim, so I'm not sure who the officials are.
No, but it does appear that we have 3 zebras this afternoon.
Oh, there sure is. Okay.
So we'll have lots of whistle blowing, I'm sure.
Well, not necessarily so. The trend is to let them play, and it's more physical basketball in AAU international rules than it is in what we're used to in high school league. They allow a lot more contact than what they're used to. I have no idea what kind of a record the Canadian girls have gotten, but I know this AAU team for Boo came in second place in their division this summer, or this, I guess it's the fall, or I'm checked at the spring season or whatever they're playing in now. But they are a fine team. He's done a real good job. He's got some real good assistants.
Well, they do have some of these girls going on to play college ball. Kim Aston, who will attend Old Dominion University. Gwen Deal will be attending Norfolk State. Allison Moore, who we got a chance to see play for Green Run back when we were doing the girls basketball at the end of the season. Allison Moore will be attending UVA. Kathy Potter will be going to Lenore Ryan College. And Angela Rust, who is committed to Tulane University. And of course, as I said before, my favorite on the team out there tonight is little Nikki Reed, who starred at Phoebus High School.
Well, and, Tim, excuse me, she's just a junior, so she's not going. She's going back to Phoebus next year.
That's right. She's going back to Phoebus. So, but I'm sure when it gets time for her scholarships and the like, she'll be a very highly touted ball player. I could go on and on about her. The girl that, as we're watching the girls warming up here, of course, number 30 that just came through the screen, Natalie Thomas, is also from Newport News.
Yeah, I believe she played on the Menchville team that was had a real excellent. In fact, they took Phoebus girls right down to the wire in the Peninsula Tournament.
A game that you and I had the pleasure of attending and doing, and Natalie Thomas impressed me. There you see little Nikki Reed on the screen. Natalie Thomas, getting back to her, I was very impressed with her abilities. She's a pure shooter, if I remember correctly, and we should see a real representative bunch of girls here for the Boo Williams team. I'm sure they'll do a fine job. As you said, unfortunately, we really don't have any information about the Canadian All-Stars, but I'm sure they'll be well represented today as well.
Right, and I just want to make mention of number 5, Roz Gross from York County. She was the leading scorer in the York district, and of course the girls play fall basketball in Group 2, and that's what we didn't see too much from her this year. And we have our good friend Pat Patrick, we might bring him and put him on.
Yeah.
Have him sit down here. It's nice to have Pat. He's going to critique the referees or something. I don't know.
So we might be able to get Patrick then to give us a little help with some information as well.
He went up with Mike Talon last night.
Excuse me, Bob. Pat, an AG, and a young lady whose name I'm not familiar with. But Pat, of course, one of the best officials on the peninsula, as we have mentioned before. We had the pleasure of having him discuss officiating and basketball in general during the Peninsula District Tournament.
Well, he actually set in for our full half of the girls' game, which we were real thankful for that, because it gave us some insight on what the officials are going through. And you make some calls, but you don't know. Well, you know, and I know that half the people are going to like it, half the people aren't going to like the calls. But you have to do a judgment call, and Pat, of course, says that he feels like he's giving back to the ball game. So we really appreciate any information he can give us on that Russian game that was up in New York. The Soviets that played up in New York last night.
Yeah, they played against the Gauchos team from New York. Incidentally, the Russian game, the Soviet game, will be following this game. Or actually, I understand we'll be flip-flopping the game, so you may be, in fact...
I think what's going to happen is this game will be aired Tuesday and Thursday at 9 o'clock, and the Soviet team playing against the Boo Williams team will be aired Wednesday and Friday at 9 p.m., and then there will be some air dates during the day. I'm not sure what those will be, but from what Scotty was telling me, I believe that's the way their schedule is going to be. So if you're watching this on a Tuesday night, then you'll be able to watch it again on Thursday, and then Wednesday or Friday you can pick up the Soviet teams.
The teams have finished their warm-ups and they have returned to their benches. We're just about set to go.
And we just missed the introductions of the officials, Tim. the announcer for
I'm
the
going to
stadium
call them Larry, Curly, and Mo for lack of better...
well, we got one out there.
One of them does
he
look
looks
like
like Mo. Curly, I mean.
Just kidding, guys. Actually,
glad
Bob is the referee baiter in the group here. I have the utmost admiration for basketball officials. Bob,
you know I do.
It, right?
I used to praise them all the time when I was coaching.
I used to yell praise at them from the bench. Okay, so we're about set to get underway here. Taking the floor for Boo Williams' team. Among others, Kim Aston, number 12, number 3. We have 2 threes out there, not at this moment, but we will from time to time because of a jersey problem with the girls. Sarah Captain is the number 3 on the court right now for Boo Williams. Out there is Gwen Deal, number 21. Anita Taylor, number 20, is on the floor. And along with Allison Moore, who will jump center, and she will be opposing Christy Van Barneveld. And the tap is controlled by the Boo Williams All-Stars. 3-point shot, in and out, and rebounded by the Canadian All-Stars. They will be in the gray shorts with the black jerseys and gold numerals. Of course, Boo Williams' team in the all gold with black numerals.
And they are playing a tough man-to-man, but they did a good job getting on inside. But a beautiful block there, Tim, by number 20, Anita Taylor. Now, they're going to call Sarah Captain. Even though she has number 3 on, they will refer to her as 0.
Okay.
So when the announcer mentions 0, that's who they're talking about.
And incidentally, we did, from the opening ceremonies, a correction on one of the girls' names. It was incorrectly announced as Gary Chandra. It is actually Chandra Gary. That will be the other number 3. And the ball lost out of bounds. It belongs to the Canadian girls team. Here we have one of the other international rules that I was surprised. If memory serves me correctly, the official does not have to touch the ball after each infraction like that.
Well, that's true. He doesn't have to, and what that means that you can grab the ball, bring it in bounds, and get it down the court before the other team comes down. We've had a lot of turnovers here at the beginning. Now we got a shot. That 14-footer was right on the money.
That's Gwen Deal, number 21, connecting to start the ball game off. And a little more than a minute played. Boo Williams' team leads 2-0.
Well, they've got the cities where these young ladies are from, but I'd like to know what schools that they were played at over in Norfolk and Virginia Beach and all too, Tim. But we're not allowed to, or we don't have that on our statistics sheet here.
Sandra Mullins retaliates for the Canadian girls. This is Allison Moore. She connects. So after a slow start, the girls start to connect. It's 4-2 Williams All-Stars.
Well, this is a much bigger arena than what these girls are used to playing in, Tim. And we will find that occasionally that they'll have maybe their depth perception is a little bit off because of the distance behind the goals, but the shakiness will leave them.
Foul is charged to Sarah Captain. That's her first. And at the free throw line for the Canadian girls team, Bridget Edwards. And she'll connect on the first. And she is perfect at the free throw line, and we're tied at 4.
And you'll see that these girls are pretty well sound fundamentally.
Baseline
feed. Nice pass, Tim. Did you see that pass from, that was from Captain right inside to the open player underneath.
Sarah Captain got a good feed, but she was too far underneath the basket and very alertly threw the ball out for Anita Taylor, who put it in off the glass. 6-2.
And that's one of the hardest things. See, a 5-second closely guarded call like that is out of bounds. But one of the hardest things to come up with an all-star team, Tim, is you got a lot of superstars out there, and to get them to play as a unit and be very unselfish is a tough job for the coach to do, but they have done an excellent job with these young ladies.
Allison Moore from the same spot. She has 4. It's 8-4. I got to figure out some way to shorten the names here of the Boo Williams All-Star girls team. I think we'll just refer to them as the Williams girls from this point. This is they bringing the ball down. Sarah Captain has it momentarily and then loses it. And back come the Canadians. Maybe the Canadians and Americans. Is that
there we go.
There you go. We figured this out.
Oh, we can call them the, Williams All-Stars if you want. Nice fake. Nice fake by number 7, Christy Van Barnald.
And it's 8-6, a 2-point lead for the Americans. Moving the ball around crisply, and then we have a traveling charge. Gwen Deal took steps before she dribbled. Turned the ball over to the Canadians. A little more than 16.5 minutes to go in the first half. Of course, they play international rules, 2 20-minute halves. Inside, and we've got a whistle. The foul is going to be charged to Gwen Deal. Well,
Roz Gross is getting off the bench. She's the young lady I was talking about from York High School that's an excellent basketball player, Tim.
Okay, they changed that. Now, Gwen Deal, I thought, was the guilty culprit, but in fact, it was Sarah Captain who has picked up quickly 2 fouls, and she will come out of the ball game. First one is no good by Bridget Edwards. She had connected on her other 2 attempts, and she misses both of these. So Boo Williams continues to have the lead, 8-6. This is Deal swinging around at the top of the free throw line. The shot comes up short. Nita Taylor came up and hit the front of the rim. Quickly double teamed at the baseline. Canadian girls kick it back out. Nice move to the bucket. It doesn't go. We've got a whistle inside.
That was on number 11 for the Canadian team. But that number 7 did a fake and drove to the basket and was so open, Tim, that she really blew the layup. Now they're putting on a press right now, denying the ball inside, and because Boo just has one gal, and he's going to have bring that ball up, and that's, of course, number 21, Gwen Deal. She is the point guard and the playmaker.
3-point shot is good. Roz Gross with a 3-pointer. Long pass underneath the basket is too long for the Canadians, and the Americans will bring it back. Leading by 5, their biggest lead of the ball game. 11-6. The Americans rather swing the ball around. This is Deal. Penetrates the lane, put it up. There's a whistle. The shot doesn't go, but she'll get a couple of shots.
She has no fear of going inside. I mean, she is small in stature compared to some of those gals underneath that basket, but she has no fear going underneath there, Tim.
Sandra Mullins reached in on the play, and at the free throw line shooting 2 is Gwen Deal. This is the first.
And one of the other changes, Tim, is they can go into the lane before the ball is released. As soon as she starts to release the ball, they go in the lane, where you can't do that in regulation.
Deal misses both of those. The score remains 11-6, and a traveling call against Ben Barnavald. And a substitution now incoming for the Canadian All-Stars is Shelley Foster. She is the tallest player on the team, or certainly right up there with the tallest player. She's listed at 6'2". Chrissy Van Barneveld is listed at 6 feet. Canadians in a zone. Throwing across the zone. Gwen Deal, nice move, but she has it blocked very well by Shelley Foster, and back come the Canadians.
Well, now it's easy to penetrate when you're playing a man-to-man, but against a zone, when you penetrate, somebody's going to pick you up. And that's what Gwen has got to figure that out and dish that ball off to somebody open under the basket, and we got a foul at the other end.
Shelley Foster went up with a shot. She was fouled.
Fouls on number 20, Anita Taylor.
Foul is charged to Anita Taylor. That's her first, the team's third personal, or third team foul. At the free throw line will be Shelley Foster, young lady who just came in for the Canadians. Her first try is short. the second.
Good by Shelley Foster.
So it's a 4-point lead. Deal to Gross. Gross will shoot from 3. She's got her second three-pointer.
Tell you what, Tim, she's got 2 shots. She's got 6 points. She's got tremendous form when she shoots that basketball. That's just a nice little set shot. Nobody's going to pick her up, so she's going to shoot it.
Inside for the big girl. She doesn't get it to go, and she draws the foul. That'll be the second on Anita Taylor. At the free throw line, Chrissy Van Barneveld. You have trouble with these. There you go. There's our roving reporter on camera.
And eating his popcorn.
Eating his popcorn.
The only thing I can't figure out is he's usually got some gals hanging around him.
Hey, this is early. He's just warming up. Van Barneveld misses the first.
Well, Tim, he didn't look like he was doing much roving.
He's saving his energy.
Well, I know that at halftime he is going to talk with Pat Patrick and get a little bit inside of what the game was like up in New York last night.
Is Pat refereeing the men's game?
No, he's not. I don't believe Pat does any international. I may be mistaken, but I don't believe he does.
1 out of 2 for Barneveld. That's Van Barneveld, actually. 14-8, 6-point lead. Deal puts it up. It's no good, and then lost out of bounds by the Canadians. It'll be still Boo Williams' girls team.
Nobody was around her, and she lost the ball out of bounds. What I give you, coach will get gray hairs in a heartbeat, something like that. There she is again.
Corner, Gross. And it's a three-pointer.
That was an excellent substitution, but
boy, she is something. 3 out of 3 from the three-point range, and now we've got a whistle and a timeout called by the Canadian girls team. Their coach, of course, does not want this game to get out of hand, and leading 17-8 with 13:39 to go here in the first half.
Well, the Canadian girls are playing a zone which is leaving the wings open, and Roz has picked up a couple from this side and one from the other side. She's just finding the open spot. And if nobody goes out on her to put any pressure on, she shoots that set shot, Tim, and she has been dead-eyed right on the money, 3 for 3. So that was an excellent substitution that Boo did. Of course, he brought her in because Sarah Captain had picked up her second foul. And Sarah is an excellent player also, but I don't believe that Sarah's got the outside shooting potential that Roz Gross does.
No, and again, if my memory serves me correctly, Sarah Captain is going to be one of your inside fighters. She's the type that they get the ball down low and she'll go to the hoop. But as long as you got someone popping them with that kind of consistency from the three-point range, you don't need anybody inside.
Well, Tim, but what's going to happen, that's going to bring it outside, and it will open up the inside. Absolutely. Because you're going to have to put some pressure on that outside shooting. So that should open up the inside game for the Boo girls.
The Canadians seem to try and isolate one-on-one type. They open up the lane and try and make some isolation plays. It's not working real well for them, but they have driven to the basket and gotten some free throw attempts. They just need to connect on them. Shelley Foster puts it up. It doesn't go.
She actually lost the handle on that as she was shooting it, Tim. She really didn't have good.
She looked a little bit uneasy the last time down. She didn't have a real good handle on it. Turnaround, Allison Moore puts it off the glass. No good. Shelley Foster with the rebound.
Well, that was an excellent move. She just didn't get the ball to hit, but she did make a good inside move. It was a nice drop step and move to the basket. And she just gets her range. These girls are still kind of nervous out there, Tim, and I'm sure they're starting to get their second win now. You get a little hyper and you lose that first win real quick.
Americans move the ball around nicely. Now inside, off the rim, no good. Angela Rust has checked in now for the Americans, 31. Boo Williams substituting freely from the baseline right to the corner. And that shot is good.
That's good by number 3,
Sylvia Corbett. (17-10). 12 minutes and some change left in the first half. Tim Cole, Bob Henson, A.G. Womble from the Hampton Coliseum. Drive the baseline, yes.
A nice penetrating move by Ken Austin that time. Just dropped off to the right and made a nice shot. But try to keep an eye on A.G. He's going to go over there and try to talk with Alonzo Mourning just before they go inside to change up for the second game here tonight.
Jump ball.
Checking to the line for Canada, number 12, Linda Hazy.
Kim Aston now will check out, and coming back in for the ladies, Gwen Deal for the Americans.
Jump ball possession Canada.
Also coming in is Rachel Reed, number 14 for the Canadians. And they'll get the ball underneath the basket. Trailing by 9.
And number 31, Angela Russ, is a big gal for Boo in the middle now. She's playing almost a zone in that center. Now she is coming out, but they are in a zone. The Boo's team is in a zone.
Nice move to the hoop. The ball doesn't go. Second shot no good. Rebound by Foster no good. And finally controlled by the Americans. Fast breaking off the glass, and no basket. An offensive foul.
There's a little disconnect. Boo is just, he's holding his head, but he can't believe that. He can't believe that call at all.
So wipe out the basket. It was a good looking play, but it doesn't count. As an offensive foul was charged to Kirsten Portlock of the American team.
Now the Boo's team is picking them up full court, Tim. They're going to put pressure on them the whole court. They're out of that zone. They showed that zone one time down the court and caught, and that man-to-man caused them to throw the ball out of bounds.
.11:03 left in the first half, 19-10. Gross inside to Rust. Rust has it knocked away. Good defensive play. And on the other end of the court, a good defensive play. But standing on the baseline is Roz Gross. So she stepped on the out-of-bounds line, and it goes back over to the Canadians. Short, coming off to the Americans. Penetration and a behind-the-back pass goes awry.
That was an ill-advised move that time. There was 3 defenders down there, and Gwen just didn't have a chance to do anything with that ball. She should have pulled it back out and set it up and run a play.
Drive the lane and put it in.
Shot good by Linda Hazy.
Tim, we're going to go ahead and go over to AG and let him talk with Alonzo.
A little revenge this year with the Russians?
Yeah, you could say that the guys are really up for the game. We've really been working hard in practice. We're really looking forward to playing today at 6.
Boo said if we don't win this year, the guys don't get to come back next year.
Well, I don't really know. Boo has really set up a lot of opportunities for us to play against a lot of different talent in the country. I don't know if we're going to play them again next year or not. If Boo said, I mean, it's like that.
Going to Georgetown, what played on your decision there?
Well, it was basically Coach Thompson and the way he molds his players and a good man. And if you look at all the players that come out of Coach Thompson's program, they've all been successful, and they came out with a degree, with college education, and they've been successful in life and in their jobs that they pick, or either playing in the NBA. You can see they've been well taught by Coach Thompson.
All right, Alonzo, your chances on making that Olympic team?
I really don't know. I'm really going to go out there and work just as hard as anybody else out there. It's really an honor to be invited to play in the Olympic team, on the Olympic team, and to serve your country. It's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it, and I can't wait to May 18th.
All right, tonight's game, Alonzo, against the Russians, what type game do you expect?
Well, I expect it's going to be a real physical game.
Should that work to our advantage?
Yes, and 50% here and 50% there because we're not that much of a physical team. I think we're much more quicker than the Russians are. The Russians are a little bit bigger than we are, and they're more physical. And we're gonna have to maneuver our quickness and use our fast break to beat the Russians. And we're gonna have to really get used to the international rules too.
Well, Lonzo, appreciate you talking with us today. Good luck to you tonight, in the future, and we're sure we're going to be hearing a lot of great things from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Tim, Bob, Alonzo, morning.
All right, AG, thank you very much. Of course, Alonzo will be the mainstay in the boys' game that'll be coming up, and that should be quite a game. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I am too, Tim, but he has been given a tremendous honor. There's another three-pointer by Ross Gross. But he is the only high school player that was invited to the Olympic tryout, so that's quite an honor just getting invited, Tim.
Roz Gross has connected on 4 buckets, all of them three-pointers, and Sandra Mullins connects on her second two-pointer of the night. She's got 4 points, and it's 22-15. The Americans knocked away by the Canadians. 8:39 left to go in the first half, and we got to thank AG for that very incisive interview with Alonzo Mourning. Of course, Alonzo is the big name draw here for the boys team, but they've got a lot of other good names coming up in that boys game too, and we'll get back to that and refer more to that as we go along. Right now we've got a pretty good girls game going on. The Canadian girls are staying close. Even though they've been quite cold from the field, they have maintained at least a 6, 7, 8 point deficit. And they're at 7 right now. Gwen Deal drives and doesn't go. She just didn't get the roll. And back comes the Canadians. She's exciting,
isn't she, Tim?
Oh, she is. She goes right in that lane like it's no tomorrow. She's not the least bit bashful. Canadians looking inside, feet under the basket, and a whistle and a foul. So Rachel Reed will go to the free throw line. And a foul will be charged to Gwen Deal. That's her first. And that will be bonus time now for the Canadian girls team.
And here comes your favorite player, Tim, number 10.
Gwen Deal will get a well-deserved rest.
And along with her comes in number 40, Kathy Potter. Also, she's from Chesapeake.
At the free throw line, Rachel Reed will shoot 2. She connects on the first. 22-16. The Canadians hanging tight. Crowd continuing to file in there at the Hampton Coliseum. They're expecting a big crowd before this doubleheader is over. 1 out of 2 for Rachel. Back come the Americans. Nikki Reed brings the ball up, as she so many times has done for Phoebus and will do so at least one more year. Inside, ball knocked away, and it was last touched by one of the Canadians.
Well, they do a good job of passing that ball on the inside. You can see Boo's team is conscious once they get that ball inside to get it to the wide open player. And the Canadians did a good job that time of knocking the ball out of bounds.
Moving around, Roz Gross, and she is fouled before the shot, I believe.
Well, that's another part of her game, Tim. She's shot the outside shot. She's 4 or 5 from the outside. That time she drove to the basket. Evidently was fouled prior to the shot.
The Canadian girls have not committed the number of fouls to give the Americans the shooting situation. They've only committed 14 fouls. Pass down court is last touched by the Americans. Player control foul. Shot no good. Roz Gross adds to her statistics with a rebound. Spots Potter. Ooh, a heavy fall, and the shot is good.
Nice pass underneath that time. Ross Gross brought that ball up real fast and got it down there before the Canadians could get their defense set up.
24-16. Americans up by 8. Good hustle, saved by Boo Williams' girls team. Kirsten Portlack holds it up. 14, it's short. Potter gets the rebound, kicks it out, puts it off the glass. No good. Got her own rebound, and then she's hammered when she went up. That's Kirsten Portlack.
There's some bodies hitting the floor out there. Don't tell anybody thinks this isn't a contact.
Oh, that was heavy-duty contact inside.
The fans are being treated to a fine basketball game here today.
15, Christine Portlock.
Richard Edwards called for the personal foul. Turnovers have the Canadian girls committing 9 turnovers to 4 for the U.S. girls. So, of course, that is a big statistic when you consider that 5 more opportunities for Boo Williams' girls team. At the free throw line is Kirsten Portlock, shooting 2, and she connects on the first.
Well, Tim, not only that, but it also means that they have lost 5 more opportunities, or in this case, 9 opportunities to get down and shoot the ball on those 9 turnovers. So that's a possible 18 points.
Portlock is perfect at the free throw line, and now it's a 10-point lead for the Americans.
And they're back in that zone, Tim. And Nikki is real active on that zone, on the front part of that zone. She put a lot of pressure on whoever's got the ball out in front.
Oh, nice move to the baseline. Wow, what a nice play by Chrissy Van Barneveld.
And it started off of a good defensive play because she started to pass the ball. It was knocked right back to her, and she just took it and went right onto the basket.
That's the 2nd or 3rd time that she's gone to the hoop strong. Back come the Canadians, left-handed layup, good. That's Sandra Mullins who has 6 points. Just like that, 4 points are chopped off of the American girls' lead.
Well, that went from a double figure lead to a 6-point lead real quick.
Allison Moore, kick it out. Bad pass intended for Nikki Reed. It wasn't really close.
They're getting just a little bit sloppy right now. We got another young lady coming in, number 22, Tim.
That's Abigail Takashi, I believe, is how it's pronounced. I hope I didn't mispronounce her name. 5:30 remains here in the first half. 26-20. Canadian girls with a chance now to cut that lead to 4. And Shelley Foster will go to the free throw line as she was fouled.
Fouls on number 22, Abigail Takashi, her first.
Takashi comes in the game and is very quickly charged with her first personal foul.
At the line shooting 2 for Canada, Shelley Foster.
And Boo is calling a timeout, Tim. If you notice that time Boo stood up, he's the only one that can call timeout. Only a coach can call timeout in the international rules.
5:25 remains here in the first half. It's a 26-20 ball game. And so far, the Canadian girls are hitting 50% of their free throws.
The boys 13 and under.
And Boo's team is recording 66% of their free throws. Just to recap quickly for you who the leading scorers are in the game so far. For the Canadian girls, Sandra Mullins leads with 6 points, 5 points for Van Barneveld, 3 points for Hosky, and 2 points each for Bridget Edwards and Sylvia Corbett, and 1 point for Rachel Reed and Shelley Foster. For Boo Williams American All-Stars, they have been led so far by Roz Gross with 12 points on 4 3-pointers. 4 points each for Anita Taylor and Allison Moore. 2 points each for Gwen Deal, Kim Ashton, and Kirsten Portlock. The Canadian girls have not committed 7 team fouls. They've only committed 5 team fouls to this point. At the free throw line, Shelley Foster, who has connected on 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Now she goes with the first and will get a second shot.
Tim, one of the reasons that the Canadian girls are in the bonus and the American girls are not is they are pushing that ball inside and getting a lot of inside shots, and the American team, Boo's team, is trying to block those shots and consequently getting the fouls called on them.
And 6 straight points have been reeled off by the Canadians. They've cut that 10-point lead to just 4. Nikki Reed has it and dragged her pivot foot.
Doesn't look Oh, now they're touching the ball. I didn't think they had to touch the ball.
I didn't think they did, and I'm surprised. I think that's probably more the case of the official not remembering the international rules as much as it is the girls. The girls are ready to roll.
Yeah.
The Canadians now with a chance to cut this lead down to 2 and actually 1 point if they were to connect on a three-pointer. Left-hand shot, no good. And back come the Americans. And then we've got a tie-up. No, we're going to have a foul charge. Looked like a pretty good defensive move on the part of the Canadians.
I thought so, too. Hey, evidently, he thought she grabbed a hold of his arm, or her arm, but it's still set up on no foul shots. He'll be taken out of bounds.
So that foul is charged to Chrissy Van Barneveld. That's her second, team's 6th. So from this point on, the Americans will be shooting, and Nikki Reed connects.
If you notice that it seems like everything that Boo's team is doing is outside. They're not getting anything inside.
Nikki steals the ball, and then a foul will be charged. Now I understand that Chandra Gary is going to be number 0. Is that correct?
Instead of Sarah Captain. Well, we'll do whatever they tell us.
You can't believe anything that man tells you. You know that, don't you?
Well, you know him better than I do, Tim.
That's
so
my former roommate, an all-around good guy.
He's not one of these guys that can play that ping pong as good as you.
Oh, yeah, Jerry Zomplis. He's a good ping pong player. In fact, he's one of the few people in the world that have beaten me.
You have yet to get me out there, Tim.
We're going to do it at the free throw line. Number 22, Abigail Pakashi, next on the first. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. We didn't get a pronunciation chart for the Canadians or the Americans. We do have one for the Soviet team, which we need desperately, and I have Jerry to thank for that.
All right, I tell you, see down here putting pressure on is Nikki Reed. She does an excellent job. She made the steal that last time that ended up making that those 2 points for Abigail.
And the Americans have stretched that lead back out now to an 8-point lead. 4 minutes and 3 seconds remain here in the first half.
And defense is what's done it, Tim.
And a timeout called by the Canadians.
Now that time, one of the gals called timeout, so I don't know if they're not going by the international rules. Well, I don't know, Tim. But,
you know, that's a distinct possibility because they may have foregone that when you see the official touching the ball before the inbounds play on a turnover. And now we have a situation where the ball handler called the timeout. So it could be that they have waived certain parts of the international rules.
Well, I know when they play the Russians that it'll be all international rules.
There's a couple of people you know. At least one person is Ron Williams, isn't it?
Yes, Ron Williams is a very active supporter of athletics. He's been very active at the, that's Ray Washington with his back to us. But Ron has been very active in the athletic programs over at Kecoughtan High School and is a staunch supporter and helper with the Boo's efforts here. And of course the other one was Ray Washington, who was one of the assistant superintendents here in the Hampton City School System.
Who's this good-looking young guy to my left here?
Oh, looks just like his father.
Yeah, that's Randy, your son here.
Yes.
I got a couple of
very fortunate to have Randy give us a hand with the statistics today. Of course, he's like me. He's a very avid sports fan. He loves good basketball. He got a chance to spent a couple years up to Syracuse and got to see Ewing when he was at Georgetown. So Randy really enjoys good basketball.
30-22, the American All-Stars up by 8.
And of course, Randy's going to be mad at me if I don't mention Ronnie Cycli and Earl the Pearl and all those guys that played him when he was up there. So I better make sure I mention those people.
Foul is called against Allison Moore. That's her first personal foul. And of course, both teams are over the limit now.
At the line shooting 1-1, Chrissy Van Barneveld.
Chrissy Van Barneveld at the free throw line, shooting 1-1. And she misses the first and will, of course, not get the second. And it's rebounded by Roz Gross.
Well, Tim, if you notice one thing here, for sure that regardless of who Boo brings off the bench, it does not hurt his team at all.
Nikki off the glass. Yes, nice touch.
Nice, that's the shooter's foul, Tim.
So Nikki Reed has come in here in the last couple of minutes and recorded 2 buckets. And of course her defense on the ball handler, the guard bringing the ball up, has been instrumental in a couple of turnovers as well. 3 minutes to go in the first half, 32-22. Van Barneveld, no good, but Shelley Foster rebounds. It doesn't go, and it was last touched by Allison Moore.
Checking into the lineup for Canada, number 15, Wanda Vieira.
Coming in now is Wanda Vieira for the Canadian girls. Coming out, Marie Bernard.
And Boo's team, Boo's got it right back up to a double-digit lead, Tim, and it was right at one point where they could have cut it to 2 or even 1 on the 3-point shot like that one.
3-pointer.
Shot good by Sandra Mullins.
Sandra Mullins continues to be effective, and we've got a foul on the baseline. That is the 3rd foul on Chrissy Van Barneveld. So we'll undoubtedly see her check out for the Canadian girls. They certainly don't need her to pick up more than her 3rd. In her place will be Bridget Edwards, number 11. And also coming in is Sylvia Corbett. She'll replace Sandra Mullins with 9 points in the first half. At the free throw line will be Roz Gross. That's her first attempt at the free throw line. Has 12 points. All of her points coming on 3-point shots. And she'll get the bonus.
There is some fight for his position underneath that basket when that foul shot's made.
Take no prisoners.
No prisoners.
I would assume then that they are playing by American rules, because I noticed they're not standing outside the wider international foul lane. So that's another
That's a good key. We should have picked that up earlier, Tim.
Nikki Reed, good defense, got the turnover, got a trailer, and she finds her. Put her off the glass. My. That's why Nikki Reed is one of my favorite players. She does so many different things.
She can shoot the ball, she can handle it, but she is an excellent defensive player.
She knocks it away again.
She will excite a team and make a real quick run. And, you know, defense, a lot of people have a hard time playing defense, but if that's something you concentrate on, that makes your offense grow.
No question about it. She is a catalyst. She makes things happen, and that's what's happening right now. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Pass back to Nikki Reed. Allison Moore from 15, in and out. But underneath for the rebound and an easy bucket is Anita Taylor. Anita now with 6 points, and it is a 13-point American lead, just like that. And I have to credit this burst to Nikki's emergence in the game.
Well, there's no doubt about it. She has sparked this team to really start hustling and play some defense. And, of course, what's happening on that defense, Tim, is they're getting down. They're able to come down and get some shots off with before the Canadian team can set up their defense. And that's a spark that you can't coach. I mean, somebody like Nikki, it's an instinct. She's got a nose for that ball. She goes for it.
Roz Gross picks up her 2nd personal foul. She'll come out of the ball game. At the free throw line is Linda Hasek. And she'll get a 2nd shot. She's got 4 points in the ball game. The turnovers now, the Canadians have turned it over 12 times in the first half, and the Americans 7. And Hasky is perfect at the free throw line. Lead now 11 points for the Americans. Nikki is double T. She gives it inside. Anita Taylor, yes!
Nice touch on that ball, Tim. And that's, I believe, that's the biggest lead that they've had today, isn't it, 13?
13 is the largest, and a chance here to make it 14, as Anita Taylor will go to the free throw line.
And at one point, it was down to 4 with the Canadians with the possession, and in comes Nikki. And Nikki just kind of fired them up, and they've been on a roll ever since.
Well, since that point in time, it was 26-22. The Canadians have scored 5 points, while the Americans have scored 14 points. Free throw no good by Anita Taylor, so she has 8 points now. And it's 40-27, 13-point lead. Chrissy Van Barneveld has it blocked. Chased down by Wanda Vieira. Sylvia Corbett with the ball, being hounded by Prakash. And a bad pass underneath. One pass too many that time.
Yeah, it really was, because the person she was passing to was looking to go to rebound.
Inside of a minute, 51 seconds to go in the first half. And this one is lost off the hands of number 13. That's Marilyn Grayton.
Yeah, she's from Tab, Tim. But that was an excellent pass. She just mishandled it.
One more tip, Bob, that it lets us know. Again, I'm sorry that we weren't informed of this sooner, but they are not playing international rules apparently, evidenced by the fact the 30-second clock is not being utilized.
That's true too, Tim.
Perhaps
well, we went over those.
Maybe the second half they'll be utilizing the international rules.
Well, I don't know exactly how they're playing it, but I know that the Soviets against Boo's team will definitely be that. Oh, nice shot.
Abigail Prakash has 6 points.
Abigail Prakash.
8 seconds. Time running down. Chrissy Van Barneveld rebounded by Allison Moore. 2 seconds. Prakash gets it away, and it doesn't go. Had it gone, it would have counted.
Well, Tim, what we're going to do right now is you can recap real quick. Pat Patrick's going to be talking with our road reporter, AG, right out here in front of us. So if Tim will flip over there, and then we'll catch that, and then maybe we'll get a little wrap up here before the end of the half.
All right, 42-27 is our halftime score, and now we're going to go to AG, standing at courtside with Pat Patrick.
We got Pat Patrick, one of the top local high school officials. Pat, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I thought they played a pretty good first half. I think that we're stronger than they are, and I think that the girls will probably widen it out a little more. I think we're a little bit tougher inside than the Canadian team. Not playing as good transition as we should right now, but Nikki Smith came in. Nikki Reed. Yeah, came in and did a great job.
A couple steals, couple baskets, couple assists.
Played well, and so did Roz Gross hitting from the outside.
Pat, I understand you went up last night, saw the Russians play in New York. What type team do they have?
That's right. I went up there so Boo could have a little bit of a scouting report. They are a very, very physical team. If anyone saw the game last year, they're probably not as physical as they were last year. They're just not as big. But they crash the boards. They play good, aggressive basketball, and they're probably better fundamentally than any team in the United States. They have taken our game and perfected it. Their fundamentals are perfect.
How do you think Boo's team will match up against them?
Well, they've got a real big center who is what I call a wide body. He gets in there.
Takes up a lot of space.
Takes up a lot of space. He's got a lot of moves. You'll watch him. He will pump fake. If Alonzo stays on his feet and doesn't go with every pump fake and end up on the rafters, I think that can be the difference. I think Alonzo's a better ball player, but they play smart. Our guards are going to have to play well, but the key to the game is going to be our ability to play with their power forwards. Bell and Stiff have got to play well. They have got to hit the boards, and they got to be able to put play some defense also, because their power forward can really shoot, both of them. So I think that's where the key to the game's going to be, and getting on the board.
Pat, you do, of course, high school officiating, and now we're under international rules. What are some of the major differences in the?
Well, you're going to see, like, if the ball goes out of bounds, you get the ball, get to the spot, and throw it. The official doesn't have to touch it. You don't have to hear a whistle or anything like that. They will allow them to play a lot more physical. You will see people on the floor tonight, and you won't hear the whistle. They allow a lot more contact in international ball than they do in regular ball. And also, you get an extra step when you go into the hoop. So you might see
3 steps instead of 2.
Yeah. So watch for that. And the lane, of course, is a little bit wider. So,
Final question, Pat. Any predictions on the score of the men's game?
well, again, the Soviets are so fundamentally sound. I think we have better talent this year. I think we'll go catch them, but it's going to be a very, very tight ball game.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pat. Tim and Bob.
Well, thanks a lot, AG. We really appreciate your interview. Pat Patrick is very knowledgeable, and we really appreciate that.
All right, we're going to take a brief pause right now, and we'll return with some halftime statistics. And, of course, the second half of this game, our halftime score. The Boo Williams All-Star team, 42. And the Canadian All-Stars, 27. We'll return to the Hampton Coliseum, but first, this brief timeout. We're back here at halftime. Tim Cole with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble. And very quickly, some halftime statistics. The Canadian All-Stars have 27 points. They've connected on 8 of 20 tries from the field for 40%. Their free throws, 10 out of 17 for 58%. 22 rebounds. They've out-rebounded Boo Williams' team 22-13, and they committed 9 fouls as a team. Their leading scorer, Mullins, with 6. Well, they've got her with 6 points here. Actually, she has scored 9 points as she connected on a 3-pointer. And leading rebounders have Edwards for the Canadians with 5, and the only player with 3 or more fouls is Van Barneveld, and she has 3. For Boo Williams' team, they have 42 points at halftime, 16 of 30 from the field for 53%, 6 out of 9 from the free throw line, 66%, 13 rebounds, and they committed 11 teams as a team. Gross was the leading scorer with 14 points. She connected on 4 3-point tries, and one trip to the free throw line gave her the other 2 points. And leading rebounders also has Gross with 3, and she's tied with Anita Taylor, who also has 3. And they do not have anyone with more than 2 fouls on the Boo Williams team. And that's the way we shape up as we go into the second half. The officials are just about set to get this one underway. Anita Taylor has 8 points for Boo Williams' team, right behind Gross, as I said, with 14. And again, we want to thank Jerry Zomplis for his tremendous help so far, and has given us a pronunciation chart for the Soviet men's team, which
you're going to need that
by itself is worth the price of admission alone, as far as I'm concerned. Canadian girls will have the ball to start the second half. That's them in the black tops with gray shorts.
There was 2 quick turnovers there, Tim. And the Boo's team is in a 2-3 zone. Try to take that inside game away from the Canadians.
Shelley Foster gives to Sandra Mullins, and Mullins now with...
Shot good by Sandra Mullins.
11 points for Mullins. Knocked away. Chased down by Allison Moore. And then it's lost. Last touched by Allison. And again, we were correct in our assumption that they were not playing by the international rules this game. They're playing by Virginia high school rules.
Another thing we'll see, Tim, is the Canadian girls seem to be going to make this game be full court. They're going to try to get some things happening with their defense. They start picking up the Boo's girls full court. And, of course, if they can get some turnovers, get some quick points, that'll be to their advantage.
42-29. Actually, you know, Pat Patrick was kind enough to inform us they're playing by Virginia high school rules, but they really aren't. Were they? They're playing 4 8-minute quarters.
That's true. They're playing by the rules as far as, except for as the clock goes, Tim. I think that's the only difference.
(44-29). This is the American team with the ball. Allison Moore gets the roll. 6 points for Allison Moore. And it's a 17-point lead for the Americans.
Now that was not a real, that was a kind of a dumb foul because you're out there in the middle of the court and nobody around, and she went for the steal and really did not have a good angle, and was subsequently called for the foul.
It was Gwen Deal charged with the personal foul. That is her second. The team's first here in the second half. Shot well off the mark. Allison Moore gets the bound for the ladies. Deal dishes off baseline. Anita Taylor.
Anita Taylor's got a nice soft touch on that ball when she shoots it, Tim. She's a young lady out of Franklin, Virginia.
And she now has 12 points. 19-point lead for Boo Williams' team. From 17 feet, no good. Batted around, we've got a foul underneath.
This will be a non-shooting foul. It was number 11, it looked like, for the Canadians. Bridget Edwards.
That's her third personal foul.
The Canadians are just not as big as the American girls inside, Tim. They got them 3 or 4 inches, it looks like. And of course, if they got to block out, you're not going to be able to go over the back and get the rebound. And that's what they're trying to do.
Natalie Thomas checks in the ball game, another local product. She replaces Allison Moore in the lineup for the ladies. Boo Williams ladies team, I should say. And a traveling call against Gwen Deal.
That's not the first time that's happened today. She's moving her pivot feet before she starts her dribble on the fake.
(48-29). Ball knocked away, and back comes Boo Williams' ladies team. Check that. Natalie Thomas put a shot up.
And another quick foul on Deal.
Foul on number 21, Gwen Deal, her third.
So that's Gwen Deal's third.
It was a nice pass on the fast break. Natalie just couldn't finish it off.
(48-29). And a traveling call against the Canadians, Chrissy Van Barneveld. Gwen Deal spins. Now she gives to Natalie Thomas. Over for Kim Aston. Gwen Deal has it go halfway down and comes back out. Here come the Canadians. And another traveling call. This may be a case where the Canadian girls are used to international rules where you're allowed to have a little more latitude with your foot movement.
Well, that could be too, Tim.
These officials, of course, are calling it by the high school rules of the state of Virginia.
They are playing them a sticky man-to-man. They get them start that offense out much higher than what they've been used to.
Baseline jumper comes out for Barneveld. Canadians have committed 5 turnovers here in the second half to just 2 for the Americans. Canadians swinging around, baseline jumper, put it up, it's no good, but we've got a foul. Sarah Captain will be charged with her third personal.
And she's saying, what about the rule of verticality there? I was standing still, she jumped into me.
Does seem like there was some validity to that claim. Of course, the official right on top of the play. And at the free throw line is Linda Hazek.
Fouls on number 3, Sarah Captain, her third. Team third. Linda Hazek at the line shooting 2.
So Hazek gets 1 of 2.
Foul zone number 40, Kathy Potter, her first, team fourth.
Well, that wasn't a shooting foul, and they have corrected it. There won't be a shot on that. That was a foul on the rebound of a missed foul shot. Well, one thing that Canadian gals do is they'll take that ball and go right to the basket, Tim.
Did you see which number made that shot just now? I'm sorry. Okay,
I usually pick it up on the announce, and then I missed it.
And baseline jumper is good by Kathy Potter. 50-32, 18-point lead for the Americans.
And number 7 that time.
Chrissy Barnaval. Van Barnaval. She's got 7 points. We're going to go now to A.G. Womble, who has a former NBA great, Guy Rogers.
Testing. NBA All-Star with us, Guy Rogers. And Guy, your thoughts on the game so far?
Well, I'm enjoying the game because I'm seeing the All-Stars, Boo Williams All-Stars, doing quite well. And I'm kind of hoping that we can do the same thing against the Soviet Union team.
What type game do you expect with the Soviets?
I think that we're going to have a tough time with them because they're so aggressive and so fundamentally sound. They play a rugged game. They play like the NBA players.
Now, you're down here just specifically to help Boo Williams with this game, is that right?
Sure am. I've been in here a week, and I've enjoyed myself, but I've never worked so hard and so many hours with a group of fine young athletes.
What about Alonzo Mourning? How good of a ball player is he, Guy?
Oh, he's a man-child. He's a tremendous ball player. I think that for his level, he's probably one of the best I've ever seen, reminiscent to Bill Russell when he was going from high school.
Defensive type.
Yeah, most definitely.
You played with some greats yourself, including, of course, you made 5-time All-Stars yourself, but you played with Wilt and Kareem.
Oh, yeah. I was one of the few guys that went through the center era. When I say the center era, there was a guy when I first came into the NBA by the name of Neil Johnston, who was a great hook shot artist, 3-time scoring champ of the NBA. Then I played on the same team with Wilt, and we played together with the Warriors about 6 out of the 7.
You helped him score a lot of those points, I believe.
Oh, I carried him an awful lot. I mean, you know, carrying a guy 7'1" and on your shoulders all the time is pretty tough.
Any predictions on the boys' game today?
Well, I think that we have an opportunity to win, and I'm hoping that they can play aggressive and full court defense and press the guards and make them work hard and try and get them into a 2-3 zone so that we can start popping some outside shots. But we're going to have to work awfully hard. They're a well-conditioned team, and they're very smart, and they've had, you know, the one thing I have to tell you is they're an all-star team from the whole country of Russia. And we are an all-star team from a small region of Virginia. And we have to prepare for a team that plays international ball all year round. And this team that we have is only playing international ball for one game.
Okay, well, Guy, listen, we really appreciate you coming down to help out Boo Williams, and we wish you the best of luck.
I'm coming back. I'm going to take a vacation here with my wife.
Fantastic. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim and Bob, Guy Rogers.
Thank you, AG. Thank you, Guy Rogers. And we've got, what have we got across the way there? Look like a stepping out of bounds violation.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. We got some new players in since we started that interview. Nikki Reed's back in along with Roz Gross is the two I can pick up that were not in when we started that interview.
Okay, so Nikki is in there. That's Gross now at the top of the key. That's Natalie Thomas. Baseline for Anita Taylor. And she is hot.
She gets close to that basket, Tim, and she's not going to be denied. And, of course, you know Nikki's going to put pressure on whoever brings that ball up and causes turnovers, and she just did it again.
And that was Kathy Potter who threw the ball away. She is the 5th player out there for Boo's team. I'll tell you something, I'm very impressed with this Roz Gross as well as Anita Taylor. Anita Taylor's a good-looking ball player.
She is that, Tim.
I'd like to have Anita Taylor, Roz Gross, and Nikki Reed on my team. I'd have a pretty good nucleus, wouldn't I?
You would that.
And a jump ball.
And the reason we don't know a whole lot, have not heard a whole lot about Roz Gross and Anita Taylor, Tim, is because they're both Group 2 high schools, which means they play fall basketball, not winter basketball, and they're playing it while the football season's on, and you and I know that that's when we are really involved in the Hampton schools with the football, so we didn't get a chance to see them at all play, but we did get to, I read about them, so I did know that they were good players, but the first time I've got a chance to see them.
And yet another new face in the lineup for the Americans now is Athia Johnson, number 4.
And you notice, Tim, that they are not guarding the gal bringing the ball in, Roz Gross. They're double teaming whoever tries to break through the ball, and now they're falling back, and they're going to pick them up man to man.
This is Nikki Reed. Top of the key, she's looking to set it up. Natalie Thomas. Johnson back to Reed, looking inside for Gross. Now this is Allison Moore who's come back in. Turnaround jumper is short and retrieved by the Canadians. So Anita Taylor, number 20, is out of the lineup now as Boo is giving her a breather. Chrissy Van Barneveld misses. Back come the Americans. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. This is, of course, the Boo Williams All-Star, Tidewater All-Star girls team versus the Canadian All-Stars from the Hampton Coliseum. Good feet underneath for Roz Gross.
She could play inside and out, Tim. As you saw it, she made a nice drop step and a move and just a nice layup. And we saw her hit 4 outside three-pointers, so she can play the whole game.
She really is smooth. She has a very natural shooting style. And
block shots, Tim.
In your face, Roz Gross.
I tell you what, she has got to be the bright spot of this game, as all around defense, offense, and the whole thing today. Of course, all these girls are playing excellent basketball. I'm not trying to take away from anyone, but Roz is kind of standing a little taller right now.
In the second half, the Canadians are hitting on 4 out of 8 from the floor, while the Americans are hitting 9 out of 15 at this point. Shelly Foster has 5 points now.
We got some new people in there, Tim.
Basket good by Shelly Foster.
And a traveling call will be forthcoming. So in there now for the American team, we also have Chandra Gary, who has an X on her back.
Well, she's number 0, Tim.
Number 1 in your heart. Scramble inside, and Roz Gross comes up with the ball. I'm just terribly impressed with her. She handles the ball well.
She does inside, outside. She plays the whole game, Tim. Excellent move there by Chandra Gary. Our number 0, the ex-lady.
She posted 0.
You see a good shot from above. Our high camera position here, and we got, what do we got, traveling.
We got some real good camera positions. Got one all the way up in the rafters that'll give us a good view of the whole thing, and then we have one halfway down that will get some close-up shots, and we got one here on the end line with Dr. Sam Still. Is occasionally we'll get you and I on camera, and of course we try not to break the camera when that happens.
We haven't been giving him enough money or praise or something here.
We're not getting much camera time. Is that what you're trying to say?
Chandra Gary puts it up, gets her own rebound, and she's fouled. And she'll get a couple of shots.
Fouls on number 12, Linda Hazen. Her first, team 3rd.
Foul is on Linda Hazen.
We got a whole new 5 unit coming in there for the
announcer's
team.
Nightmare.
Yeah, well, we'll pick. I'll give the numbers, you give the names.
Doesn't seem quite fair, does it?
13 and 14 and 15. Well, they're in order.
Well, at least they're in order, right. If I had a 13, I mean, that's Marilyn Grayton. At the free throw line is Chandra Gary, who, of course, cannot be substituted for. She gets the first. Also in the ball game is Tammy Hedgepeth, number 14. 31 is Angela Rust in the ball game. Chandra Gary doesn't get it to go, but we've got a lane violation, I do believe.
Violation flag. One more shot.
Kirsten Portlock, number 15, is in the game as well. Chandra Gary now will come out of the ball game. She has 4 points, and she played just a matter of a couple of minutes. And Gwen Deal, number 21, will take her place. Little more than 9 minutes to go in the ball game. 64-39, a 25-point lead for Boo Williams ladies team. Very strong showing in this game so far today. Off the glass, no good. Back come the Americans. Portlock, left side feed. Ball loose inside and controlled by the Canadians, and a foul.
That was a case of one too many passes, Tim. She should have shot the ball rather than to try to pass it.
Foul is charged to Tammy Hedgepeth. That's her first.
Looks like it's the team's 5th, Tim.
Shot is short and still belongs to the Canadians. Air ball thrown up, and back come the Americans. This is Portlock with the ball. Gwen Deal now.
They swing that ball around real good, Tim, don't they?
Angela Rust.
3 passes and a 3-foot shot. That's what you want.
That's exactly what you want to do. 66-39, a 27-point lead. 3-point shot. Sandra Mullins, who has 2 on the ball game. And she's got 14 points to lead her team. She's been held pretty much in check here in the second half. Gwen Deal's pass goes awry. Knocked loose, chased down to the baseline. Good effort on the part of Sandra Mullins. She has been one of the bright spots for the Canadian girls. Bounced off the knee of Shelley Foster out of bounds, and it belonged to the Americans.
The reason that went off the knee, Tim, she wasn't ready for the pass. It was an excellent pass. She was not looking for the ball, and that's what you got. If you're a big person underneath the basket, you've got to be looking for that ball all the time and have your hands ready. She was not ready for the pass. She was looking for a rebound.
You know, talking about the rebounds, we have in this half a total of 7 rebounds. We have 3 offensive and 4 defensive rebounds. And the Canadians have only 4 rebounds in the half, 1 offense and 3 defensive. Knocked loose, and it belongs to the Americans. Check that, to the Canadians.
She should have let that ball go that time. It was hit by one of the Canadians, but the American girls tried to save it, and at that point they didn't need to save it. They had the ball back.
Chrissy Van Barneveld, and she is fouled. And Sarah Captain will be charged with her 4th personal foul.
She has sure caught a lot of fouls. It seems like every time she's in the ball game, somebody goes after them. Goes after her. She picked up 2 real quick ones in that first half, Tim, within the first 4 minutes, I believe.
Van Barneveld now has connected on 2 out of 4 from the free throw line. And she'll be 2 for 5 as the long rebound comes out to the Canadians. Shelley Foster, baseline jumper is good.
That's the best I've seen her release that ball today, Tim. I think she's been nervous out there.
And Sarah Captain can't get it to go, and then she picks up her 5th personal foul. On the rebound effort, she climbed the back. And at the conclusion of the game, I understand AG is going to try and get a chance to talk to 3 of the stars of the game, Nikki Reed, Anita Taylor, and Roz Gross.
Well, he couldn't pick any 3 better gals today. They have all been excellent, as has the whole team. They got a 21-point lead, and Boo has just really substituted rather freely. I wondered now, see, that's 5 fouls on, on Sarah Captain, and they let her play. And somebody picked it up.
In the second half, the American girls have hit on 11 of 19 from the floor. And the Canadians hitting 50%, 7 out of 14. They just haven't had the ball shot enough times.
That's true. You can't, you know, regardless of what kind of percentage you're shooting, you gotta, the more shots you get, the better chance you have of putting the ball in the basket.
Canadians are 2 of 4 from the 3-point range. Of course, that's what they would need to get back in this ball game, but they're really not making an effort to get the 3-point shot. And we've got a foul inside. Angela Rust has come in the ball game to replace Sarah Captain. And now the Canadian girls will be shooting the 1-and-1.
First in the bonus.
Foul was charged to.
Well, they got the wrong gal shooting, Tim.
Well, that's the wrong girl charged with a foul, so we'll just.
Number 6 should be shooting the ball for the Canadians, and that's Shelley Foster.
And we've got a lane violation.
Makes no difference, but Shelley Foster was one up for the shot and was called, the foul was called, and she didn't shoot.
Natalie Thomas brings the ball down for the Americans.
She's a good ball handler,
she's
Tim.
An excellent ball handler. Angela Rust has it knocked away. Natalie Thomas rebounds and gets the roll.
Natalie Thomas with 2.
4 points from Natalie Thomas.
Well, Boo has really got a bunch of great girls out here because he's got more than one good point guard, and they can also play the off guard if they want. In the case of Natalie Thomas, she could even play a small forward position.
I'd have to say, from what I've seen, that the Boo's team could play against most any all-star team. They've really got an excellent team out there. Canadians ball underneath the basket. 4:40 remains in the ball game. 68-45, a 23-point lead for the Americans. Chrissy Van Barneveld has it knocked away and goes halfway down and back out. Chrissy gets her own rebound. And now a battle for it on the floor. Shelley Foster puts it up, and she's fouled. They're getting a little ragged in there.
Well, the Canadian girls are really trying a little harder, Tim, which is going to make it a little bit ragged. And, of course, that goes over to the Boo's team. And, of course, Boo is substituting right freely right now. Only got 4:32 to go in the ball game, and he is just freely substituting. And the girls have a tendency not to get used to who's out there, too, Tim. And they may be playing positions that they're not, have not practiced at that much.
There really isn't any flow to it when you have that many substitutions. Shelley Foster gets one of the 2. 68-46. This is Nikki Reed, who has come back in the ball game. Moving around, Nikki drives, gets open and shoots.
Excellent shooter.
So Angela Rust is the center. And out there along with her is Tammy Hedgepeth, number 14.
13 and 15.
Marilyn Grayton, number 13, and Kirsten Portlock, number 15. (70-46), and traveling will be the call.
That was an obvious call. She picked up both feet before she ever made her move to go to the basket.
She, Sylvia Corbett, will check out of the ball game, and in her place will be Sandra Mullins. Also coming in is Linda Hasek, and she will replace Chrissy Van Barneveld. Barneveld leaves with 8 points. .333 remains in the ball game. Drive the baseline, put it up, no good. Rebound, strong, no good. Inside play, and still no shot going in.
They must have got about 3 offensive rebounds. The Randy's going crazy down there trying to keep up with the offensive rebound.
Can't fault the American team for not getting any offensive boards.
Did he get the numbers of all those rebounders?
Sure. Those are called team rebounds when you read the stats.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank several people for stopping by and talking with AG during the game here. Guy Rogers, of course, a name that I was familiar with when I heard mention the name. He played, as he said during that interview, played with Wilt Chamberlain up at for the San Francisco Warriors back in the 70s. Very good ball player.
Was very instrumental in helping Wilt get all those points, getting the ball to him.
And Portlock is perfect at the free throw line. She's got 4 out of 4 today, and she has 4 points. 72-46, 3 minutes and some few seconds remaining in the game.
They put a lot of pressure on the guards, and then the boot team drops back into that 2-3 zone. They're going to make the Canadian team pass the ball 3 or 4 times before they get a shot off, and they're shooting air balls, Tim.
Feed for Nikki. Nikki back underneath. Yes. Give the assist to Nikki. The basket to Portlock.
Nice assist.
Kind of a give and go. 2:41 left. 74-46. The Americans up by 28 points. And we've got a foul in the back court. This will be Tammy Hedgepeth's second.
And that is a one-on-one situation, Tim.
And again, wholesale substitutions as Boo is more or less platooning the players right now, bringing whole units in at a time.
And you are picking them all up.
Of course I am, but now a timeout because I need that time to tell you who's in the ballgame. Abigail Pakash is in there, number 22, along with Athea Johnson, Angela Rust.
You can see some of the fans sitting here reading the programs that's got the Canadian teams and the Soviet team in it. We have to tell the people that the big gentleman, the 7'1" or 3 or whatever, Constantine for the Soviet team will not be playing today, and I don't know why that is.
Well, I understand from talking with Pat Patrick, who, as you mentioned before, went up to New York Saturday night to see that game. He mentioned that he didn't play in that game either. And he said that the team is, again, I'm kind of repeating, but those that may not have heard that interview, he said that the Soviet team is extremely physical. They play a very aggressive physical game. So I'm interested to see how we handle that, we being the Boo Williams team. One of the things that Boo has said is his team at least has the experience, having played 7 or 8 of these fellas played against the Soviet team last year.
That's
and
correct.
That experience can be of great value to them. But if you're, and again, another point that was made that was very valid by Guy Rogers, and that is the fact that the Soviets practice as a team year-round, and they're an all-star team from the Soviet Union, whereas our all-star team here is from a select area of Virginia.
Well, and not only that, but they really are very sound fundamentally, as we saw last year that they are a very sound fundamental team.
And let me interject real quickly. I'm not making any excuses for Boo's team in advance because they don't need me to do so. I'm sure they'll make a very representative showing of themselves. But that's one of the things you're up against when you're considering an all-star team from a local area against a country as large as the Soviet Union. And there we see Natalie Thomas, who has 6 points now. And it's a 28-point lead again, 76-48. American All-Stars led 42-27 at halftime, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be a jump ball as the official rules the ball went off both players. And the arrow of possession belongs to the American team. Inside of 2 minutes to go, 1:55, the clock moving, 76-48. Shelley Foster gets the errant pass. And the Americans steal it right back. This is Prakash. Over for Natalie Thomas. Off balance, throws a prayer up. It doesn't go.
She was knocked off balance by her own teammate.
And we've got a foul charge to Abigail Prakash. I wish we had a chance to talk with Boo, and maybe at the conclusion of the game we can. I don't know if AG is nearby, but one of the things I'd like to ask Boo is what is going to transpire beyond. And maybe you can get a chance to talk to AG. What I was curious about is whether this American team is going to be playing a regular schedule. Shot no good.
Well, I know he's going to try to talk with the girls that we talked about, Anita Roz and Nikki Reed, and hopefully he'll be able to talk to Boo also. But I don't know, Boo maybe wanting to get into the locker room, so we'll see if AG can get with them.
Inside of a minute to go here in the ball game, 76-48. Ooh, Potter is hammered inside. That's Kathy Potter, who was hit as she started to go up. Caught a shoulder.
12. No.
Foul is charged to number 12, Linda Hazek. Natalie Thomas will come out of the ball game for the Americans. She played sparingly, but she got 6 points, and she's the kind of ball player that you like to have. She's hustling the whole time she's out there.
Well, not only that, Tim, she can play so many different positions. She can bring the ball up as a point guard. She can play the off guard. And then she can also play a small forward. As she was on the defense, she was down underneath the basket on the forward position on that 2-3. So she's a very versatile player, very good sound fundamentally, as we saw during the playoffs at the Hampton University this year.
Third, team 6.
Foul on the Canadians. At the free throw line, Kathy Potter will shoot 2. And Kathy Potter now has 3 points. One out of 2 at the free throw line for Kathy. She gets it back, however, it bounces around, it doesn't go in, and finally controlled by the Canadians. 30 seconds to go in the ball game. Saved on the baseline.
Yeah, she walked.
And she walked.
I didn't know if he'd pick it up or not, but she definitely walked. A lot of pressure put on by the Canadian girls that time, and she walked before she could pass the ball.
Just 15 seconds remaining. Off the glass, no good. Outlet pass is intercepted. And lost out of bounds, last touch by the Canadians.
Nobody was down to help her bring the ball inbounds.
Inbounds pass is intercepted. And both teams given a nice round of applause by the fans in attendance here. The final score, Boo Williams All-Star team 77 and the Canadian All-Stars 48. And momentarily we will be going across the court, and A.G. Womble will have a chance to talk with Boo Williams and hopefully, as he mentioned, Nikki Reed, Roz Gross, and Anita Taylor.
Well, it looks like Boo is going to go in the locker room, Tim. It looks like he may have either Pam Stewart or Ed Lowry, the two assistant coaches. Maybe that's who he'll get to talk to with the other girls. I don't know if Boo is going to hang around and let him talk with him a little bit or not. I know he wants to get inside and talk with the boys team before the next game starts. It's not scheduled to start till 6. We got 22 minutes.
All right, we're going to go across the court right now, and A.G. Womble has some folks who wants to share some.
Okay, Tim, Bob, we got some of the victorious Boo Williams girl team, and Ross Gross couldn't miss from the outside today.
No, I was struggling in warm-ups, but after warm-up, I just got out of the frustration. Being that this is a new gym and all, so I just got used to it. Then once I hit my first shot, I just felt I was on, so I just shot it up.
All right, were you surprised at the point differential?
Yeah, we was looking for the fast break. And we was working hard on keeping up with them since we had to get used to the rules, but we hung pretty well with them.
Ed Lowry, your thoughts on the big win here?
I thought the girls played well. I think they expected a bigger game than what they found, but the kids have played together for some time now, and the experience showed.
Okay. Your thoughts on these three young ladies?
Three talented ladies. I think their careers are going to take them far. We hope that they stick together and do a good job down in Miami in the Nationals, July 10th.
Okay. Good luck, girls. Great game day, and good luck to you down there.
Thank
you very much. All right, Tim and Bob, back to you.
How come you always get top billing? Tim and Bob. It's
Bob and Tim.
Bob and Tim.
Have your name first on the credits.
Oh, that's why he's just giving. You must have been talking to him.
That answers the question we had, because this team will be going to the Nationals on July the 10th.
Yeah, which that is great. I'm glad to see that, because we didn't know what kind of schedule they played. I know they played here in the state and had some games earlier this last couple of weeks. So it's nice to know that July the 10th they will be playing the Nationals down in Florida.
All right, so recapping very briefly, the Boo Williams team led by Anita Taylor and Roz Gross, each with 16 points. 6 points each for Nikki Reed, Allison Moore, Kirsten Portlock, Abigail Prakash, and Natalie Thomas with 6, and then several other players with 4, 3, and 2. For the Canadian All-Stars, Sandra Mullins with 14, Shelley Foster with 9, Chrissy Van Barneveld with 8, along with Linda Hazick with 8 as well. So the Canadian All-Stars come up considerably short at 77 to 48. Bob, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I think we need to go ahead and wrap this thing up so we can go to the food bar. I know, I'm just teasing you, Tim. You're looking slim there.
I thought I'd go do a little grazing. So, with the final score.
I'm real tickled with the way these girls played together. And they all come from all different schools, all different backgrounds as far as the coaching philosophies of the other schools. They were individual stars. They came in here. They played well together. They have nothing to be ashamed of, because they really showed that Boo's got a tremendous team, building a tremendous group down here at the girls and the boys. We're looking forward to this next game, and we wish them all the luck in the world down there in the Nationals down in Florida, Tim.
All right, Bob, thank you. For A.G. Womble and Bob Hintz, I'm Tim Cole. Thanks for watching. The final score again, Boo Williams All-Stars 77, the Canadian All-Stars 48. From the Hampton Coliseum, thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.